Joe Montana was their quarterback. Last year, another Notre Dame product. Joe Theismann led Joe Gibbs and the Washington Redskins to a triumph in Super Bowl 17. Now here today, Joe Montana and Joe Theismann shoot it out for the right to go to Super Bowl 18. Our setting is the nation's capital, 3 miles away from RFK Stadium. The countdown to an NFC championship is coming up on the NFL Today.
Now from RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C., here's Brent Musburger.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our NFC championship. This is the first time that the two past Super Bowl winners have ever come together and met in a championship game. And, of course, Washington was devastating in overpowering the Los Angeles Rams last week. But for the San Francisco 49ers, they got here by the margin of 12 inches. Bill Walsh holding off a field goal. There is his record in postseason competition. He is unbeaten in 4 games. He won last week, and, of course, 2 years ago, they marched to a Super Bowl. The other coach, he is also unbeaten in postseason competition. He is 5-0, a remarkable statistic concerning the two coaches. Now, our weather here today in the nation's capital, while it has been warmer all week, it is a touch chilly here this morning. Right now it is 32 degrees, but after all, it is January. Now, as far as the wind is concerned, which is so very important, it is 10 miles an hour out of the south right now. The forecast cloudy, and it could grow colder as the afternoon continues. However, I must add, Irv Cross, that last week Eric Dickerson was troubled by the frozen field. I think the field's in better shape today.
There's no question the field is in better shape, Brent. We talked to the head groundskeeper, and he said the field today is 100% better than it was last week. But there are a few treacherous spots. If you look in front of the Redskins bench, between the 30 and 40-yard line, you'll see a skinned area there, which is fairly slick. So there could be some treacherous footing in that area of the field, but the 49ers and the Washington Redskins are both well aware of that. I have a probe here, of course, it was used to try to determine whether or not cleats can penetrate the surface. You can see the ground is fairly soft. You won't have any problem getting a cleat in there. I talked to a number of the 49er players, and they said, you know, the field's not perfect, but it's better than candlestick. But there's a key injury here, Brent, that very little has been said about. Russ Francis, the tight end for the San Francisco 49ers, bruised his foot last week against the Detroit Lions, had limited practice this week. We'll see whether or not he can hold up in today's ballgame. He was the key man today. Brent?
All right, Irv, as you know, there is a cult around the offensive line gathering here in the nation's capital. In fact, it could become the best-known offensive line since the days of Jerry Kramer and Fuzzy Thurston and Forrest Gregg and that bunch with the Green Bay Packers in the 60s. They're known as the Hogs. And let's see if Charles C. Canty has found a little bit of hog heaven here outside RFK. Charles C.?
Well, Brent, when they got the name the Hogs, they never dreamed it was going to come to this. Not even the most hardcore. These are the Hogettes, and we're here in front of the John Riggins diesel tractor trailer that they hope will take them all the way to Tampa Bay. And in real life, during the week, these high-fashioned Hogettes wear three-piece suits and go to business. Grandpa Hog, Ralph Campbell, how did all this get started?
Well, it started as one Mike Torvik got dressed up on Halloween, and it just grew from there on. So I'd make a civic duty out of it. Yeah, he got the motto, help the Hogettes, help the piglets. Send a donation to Children's Hospital.
That's the good part of it. It all goes to charity to Children's Hospital. Now, I know that you can give a hog better than the Redskinettes. Let's hear it.
Root 'em out, root 'em out, root 'em out, hog. Root 'em out, root 'em out.
Brett, take it away, please.
All right, Chauncey, we will hear from the man known as Boss Hog when the countdown to an NFC championship continues on CBS in just a moment. Russ Francis is right now testing that injured ankle that Irv Cross reported, and without Dwight Clark, he is critical to whatever chance the 49ers hope to have here today. But he has been running pass patterns. Now, the men who are going to call the action for you, Pat Summerall and John Madden, let's go upstairs to them. Pat, likes of John Heward, Tom Clements, but it took Montana and Theismann for Notre Dame to win a Super Bowl trophy. Although they both won with the Fighting Irish, they are remembered there as different personalities.
Joe Theismann always seemed like he was plugged into a 220 outlet. He was Mr. Excitement. Joe Montana was a little quieter, very reticent around people.
Reticent or not, Joe Montana quickly succeeded in the NFL. In only his third season, he led the 49ers to a Super Bowl triumph.
I think the biggest thing was being in the right place at the right time. You have to have a year where everything kind of goes your way also, and we had some breaks that year, and, you know, that did help us get there.
Joe Theismann needed more time. He started off with the Redskins as a punt returner at his own request. And Theismann admits he was envious of Montana's instant success.
Gosh, I feel like I've paid my dues, and here's this young whippersnapper out there. You know, I envy him, I admire him, I congratulate him, but I sure do hope I get my chance someday.
He got his chance last year. Theismann followed Montana with his own Super Bowl triumph. And so Joe Theismann is on the brink of returning to the Super Bowl. But the last time he squared off against Joe Montana, he seemed more on the brink of going to another team. In 1981, the Redskins had lost their first 4, and against Montana, Theismann self-destructed. He was replaced by Tom Flick. Theismann believes he was headed to Detroit or Kansas City. At 11 o'clock that night, he knocked on Coach Joe Gibbs' front door.
After the football game, I really felt like there was a void in our relationship.
He talked to some of the things about some of the things that were bothering him about me and some of the things that were going on. And I really think what we did is exchanged ideas.
Everything started to fall in place. I started making less mistakes. We started playing better football all the way around.
Montana versus Theismann. One Notre Dame quarterback returns to the Super Bowl. The other goes home empty-handed.
It's ironic that it would work out this way, that we're both playing against one another on 2 very good football teams that have an opportunity to go back to a Super Bowl.
I wish it was meeting in the Super Bowl instead of one before.
When you ask a Notre Dame fan today, who do you want to win, he'll say, I'm pulling for Joe. They can't lose anyway. Another fellow by the name of Joe is Joe Bugle. He's the assistant head coach here. He is known affectionately as Boss Hogg. He's standing by with Irv, so let's go to Irv now.
All right.
More than 55,000 fans will jam RFK. 132 consecutive sellouts. That's an NFL record. The last time you could get a seat in this arena was 1966. Lyndon Johnson was in the White House, and Vince Lombardi was in the Super Bowl. Now, the 49ers game plan, it is absolutely critical. You give Bill Walsh time, and he gets his head in it, and he can move the ball against anybody. Irv Cross has spent the week out of Redwood City. He's outside their locker room right now. So, Irv, what's up with the 49ers and Walsh today?
Well, Brent, you know, the 49ers and Walsh right now behind this door, of course, are planning the last-minute preparations for the ball game, and there are a lot of nervous people in there. But, you know, the Washington Redskins are favored to win this game by quite a margin, and many people are touting them as the greatest team in the history of professional football. The games are won and lost in the football field, and the San Francisco 49ers refuse to be intimidated by the Redskins' awesome reputation.
They are the reigning Super Bowl champions. And last Sunday, the Redskins started their title defense by demolishing the Rams. Only a few think the 49ers can avoid the same fate.
We have to go in thinking that we've got a chance to win. Because if we don't, we'll get blown out like the rest of the team.
There's not any one player or any one team that should cause you to lose any sleep.
I just don't believe that we will be in awe or terribly nervous about this. I think our players are eagerly looking forward to just finding out how good the Redskins are.
Pro football is a physical game, an emotional game, but it's a mental game more than anything else. If the 49ers are to beat the Redskins this weekend, they'll have to work their game plan to perfection. And behind these closed doors is where it all begins.
Don't do that.
Defensive line coach Bill McPherson's men will need more than imitation hog calls to stop the Redskins' massive offensive line, because the Hogs' bread and butter is the run.
Coach, why don't you show us their #1 running play and just why it's so effective?
All right, Irv, their #1 running play, of course, is number 44 Riggins running over the left side of their line, which is Jacoby Grimm. It's an option play for the fullback. It can go between the tackle and the end, or it can pop inside here, or possibly come all the way back. So we have to get there in a hurry. We think we've got some quickness in our team, and we think we can kind of get in the lanes.
San Francisco's strength defensively is a secondary that intimidates opponents. The threat of a sack, a hard hit, or a turnover may be the only thing that can deter Joe Theismann and the Skins' passing game.
We're going to take our chances. We're going to try to get to the receivers and get the hits on them. They're definitely going to keep us on our toes, but we can't let that take us away from being aggressive.
Offensively, Walsh has taken charge in San Francisco. And that means expect the unexpected.
The most important factor is diversity. You just have to be willing to use special plays and almost indiscriminately to establish versatility and dimension to your offense so that when they may not expect a run, they'll get it, and when they expect a short pass, they'll get a deep pass. But then your opponent doesn't get confused, but they get a little concerned and try to maybe change their tactics somewhat. So this is what it takes to beat a great team, especially a big, powerful team like this.
And if the 49ers can overcome that awesome brute force, victory may be theirs.
We're a much smaller football team, but gosh, there have been so many great champions that haven't been that big. I remember Sonny Liston and Cassius Clay having a bout once. And so this is the time to overstate the greatness of the Redskins. And it's time that people say that they're unbeatable, just like Sonny Liston was.
Of course, in 1964, Cassius Clay knocked off Sonny Liston to become a world champion. Of course, if the 49ers are going to come up with a knockout punch, it has to be a wide-open offense manned by Joe Montana, and the defense, Fred Dean on the big sack. He's the key. Brent?
All right, Irv, and of course, the major loss for the 49ers is the fact that they are without Joe Montana's favorite receiver, Dwight Clark. He's injured, but he is with Charles C. Canty, so let's hear from Charles C.
Well, Brent, Dwight Clark has come here for his 27th birthday. Today is his birthday, and what he wants from his teammates is a big championship wrapped up in a big bow. But Dwight, obviously, you can't play, and it's got to have been almost as painful for you to sit on the bench as it was to suffer your knee injury.
It has been really frustrating and a little bit depressing, but a win here today would surely take all that away.
Dwight, your loss has really hurt the 49ers. There's no two ways about that. Last week, only 3 passes were caught by wide receivers. You just came out of the locker room. What is their feeling? They're getting ready to face the Washington Redskins.
Well, we have a positive attitude. You know, I was on the outside looking in all week, and we're really positive about the game. We're going to exploit some of their weaknesses. We think we can throw the ball against their defensive backs, and if we can hold their running game down and make them throw it, we think our defensive backs can come up with some big plays, and, you know, I think that's where we're going to win the game.
Good luck to the 49ers and a speedy recovery to you.
Thank you very much.
Dwight Clark, he's out, but he's not. You can't keep a Tar Heel down for too long. Back to you, Brent.
All right, now we're going to hear from Dick Vermeil and Jimmy the Greek when our countdown to the NFC Championship continues on CBS in just a moment. Moving in on the kickoff now. Let's bring in Dick Vermeil and Jimmy the Greek. And gentlemen, let's break this game down. Dick, we all know that Joe Montana is going to pass, but I think Bill Walsh has to establish a running game here.
Bill told me they're a little too physical to run inside. They're going to try to establish the sweep outside with Wendell Tyler behind those 2 fine guards. Red right tight, 18 Bob. Here they go, running to the right. C51, Randy Cross, he'll kick out the support man, and Wendell Tyler will try to run up inside there, Brent.
Keys to the formation, Dick.
The fullbacks block on the linebacker. The tight ends block on the defensive end or linebacker. Both guards pulling, Randy Cross and John Ayers. They're the keys to the play. Now you'll see both guards pull. The fullbacks block on the linebacker. Randy Tyler kick out, number 51 right there. There goes Tyler up inside off Russ Lance's block. Well-executed play.
When Walsh went to the archives, he found that it had worked here previously.
1981, in fact, Brent, they beat him right here running this same play, and that's Ricky Patton, number 32, carrying the ball behind Randy Cross's block, and Wendell Tyler's a better back.
Since that loss, the Redskins have been on a tear. They are 35-6, and Dick, they've got to go with that strong running game.
Oh, you know they're going to give the ball to Riggins right up the gut. In fact, they call the play, unit right, fake ox. 50 gut right up the middle. They're going to reverse pivot and hand it off to the fullback. He's going to attack right there with the center's block right at the linebacker void area. See those linemen come off? He's going to butt him with his shoulder pads and get up into that secondary.
Dick, I would imagine now that the 49ers, having seen the films like we did, would tighten that bubble up and move the backers in about a yard. Can that help against Riggins?
Well, it can, but the nose guard has to have a great game today because they block nose guards real well.
All right, now on defense, the key rush man for the 49ers.
Fred Dean, number 74 on Jacoby on the top of your screen. He's a hard outside speed rusher, and he can get around those big offensive tackles, and if you let him around him, he's going to come in behind the quarterback, and they won't even see him coming. Sometimes he creates a turnover.
They have to get the right situation to get him in the game.
That's right. If they're running the ball real well, they never get into long yardage. Therefore, Fred Dean doesn't get in the game.
The Redskins rush.
The hard inside power rush by Dave Butts. He can rush over good people, like right here. He rushes over the top of Hara, who does a fine job of blocking him. But you can see the power, and he eliminates the quarterback pocket, especially if you set up short like the 49ers do many times.
All right, those are the keys to the game.
Keys
now,
to the game.
Let's bring in our buddy, the Greek. And Jimmy, very early this year, you told me that the 49ers really had a good team and would win it all. I'm going to give you a chance just to back away a little bit because we're in Washington, and you know they're without Dwight Clark, so go ahead, my man.
Well, they were 25-1 at that time, Brent, but now it's only 2.5-1. The teams that give the Redskins trouble were teams with good quarterbacks. Kansas City, Dallas, San Diego, Green Bay, and the Raiders. And I'll tell you one thing, the second best quarterback in football today is on this field also. So's number 1, by the way, Mr. T. But I'll tell you, there's one more big reason why the 49ers have a chance to win this game. My informant tells me that John Riggins has a bad back and he may not play the full game. Now, you can go with that, Daddy, but he's a bull.
Now,
he's a bull.
I must tell you that when Dick Vermeil and I were at practice, they told us afterwards John Riggins did not work out on Friday, and Joe Theismann told us that that's normal for him, that he's been sore all year. So we'll see what happens as the countdown to an NFC championship continues on CBS in just a moment. Come the defending Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins. They will be introduced to this sellout crowd here at RFK, and you can just listen to the ovation. Dick Vermeil, there's electricity here right now.
It is amazing. It's just an amazing feeling, even us just sitting here.
Jimmy the Greek, did you say the 49ers are going to win, or will it be the Redskins?
I'm not going to change from my beginning prediction from the beginning of the year. I'm going with the 49ers.
Here come the men who will try to prove the Greek wrong. They were awesome a week ago against Los Angeles. It was 51-7. We detected, Dick, that they might be just a touch overconfident, however. That could work against them for a while.
It could work against them, Brent, but I really believe they're a mature team, and the confidence will help them. It just pulls them together, and they really believe they can win.
The offensive starters that'll be introduced. There is Charlie Brown. You'll be seeing him in action because it is coming up. It is these Washington Redskins against the San Francisco 49ers in just a moment.
Quarterback, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. In his senior season, Joe Theismann upset #1 Texas in the Cotton Bowl and finished second in the Heisman Trophy voting. But success in the NFL came harder. For a long time with the Washington Redskins, the only action he got was returning punts. Meanwhile, the honor of quarterbacking Notre Dame had been passed to Joe Montana of Monongahela, Pennsylvania. He specialized in stunning comebacks and won a national championship for the Irish in 1978. Their only meeting as professionals was a game that sent Montana's team on to the Super Bowl directly. And curiously, from the ashes of this day, sent Theismann's team on to the Super Bowl a year later. Benched in the afternoon, Theismann settled his differences with Coach Joe Gibbs this night, and by the next season ranked as one of the finest quarterbacks in the game. Montana and Theismann. After today, one of them is going back to the Super Bowl, but only one.
The San Francisco 49ers versus the Washington Redskins.
Live from RFK Stadium in our nation's capital, the 49ers are in town to face the awesome Redskins. Weather conditions, temperatures 32 degrees, an even one. Wind southwest 10 miles an hour. The forecast for the rest of today is cloudy. Good afternoon. I'm for work right off the bat. And the man who's plotted the 49er fireworks is Bill Walsh, but he'll have to wait a while. There's Joe Gibbs, the Redskin coach, on his side of the field. The last time they met was in 1981. Since then, the Redskins are 35-6. As a matter of fact, that was the game that turned things around for them. The 49ers, 27-13. Disappointing in 1982, but they're in the championship game one more time as Ray Wersching lines up to kick it off. Alvin Garrett's number 89, deep, but they'll kick it away from him. Reggie Evans fumbles, bobbles at the 15, now finds some room, is down at the 21. Bill Ring the first 49er down to hit him. Let's check out the lineups on offense. And it's a good offense. The quarterback, Joe Theismann. The one lone running back is a big load, John Riggins. Ricky Walker is the H-back. Art Monk and Charlie Brown wide, and the tight end is Don Warren. Up front, it's Jacoby, Grimm, Bostic, May, and Stark, the Hogs. And they are big. Theismann would be hard to say this has been his best year because he's had 3 or 4 in a row. Charlie Brown goes in motion. Fake to Riggins and out to Brown. And Brown has it. First down, Redskins to the 49er 35. Ricky Ellison on the defense. Speaking of defense, let's check out the Niners. They play a 3-man front. Stuckey, Kugler, the nose tackle, and Dwayne Board. The linebackers, Harper, Ricky Ellison, the Hacksaw, Reynolds, and Keena Turner. Secondary, Young, tough, and good. Lott, Wright, Williamson, and Hicks. First down, Redskins, their own 35. 14-yard gain on the first play from scrimmage. Theismann to Brown. Warren goes in motion this time, and this is Riggins. 49ers beat him right at the line of scrimmage, led by the nose man, Pete Kugler, and Riggins only got a yard. There's the book on him.
That was an interesting start. The Redskins coming out and throwing on the first down. Let's watch the next first down play here. We'll see Kugler taking on Bostic. Good job. See, he took him on, slipped off that block, and got right there in the hole so Riggins couldn't get off tackle. That's what they're going to have to do all day. Get up there tight, use that quickness, get off the blocks, get into the backfield.
Riggins got a yard, but we call it 2nd and 10. That's Monk, the move man, and here is Riggins wide right. Nothing doing. He might have lost whatever he got on the play before. Ronnie Lott came up to make the stop, and Lott is one of those guys who doesn't mind contact.
He doesn't mind it, and one thing that they were talking about, and Ronnie Lott was saying, he said, I'm going to have to get up there and help a little on the run, but I hope there's a lot of other guys up there when I get there. And I think on that last play, they had that. They had the whole line sliding down, the linebackers, they were all there.
Now the Niners go with 5 defensive backs. The extra one is Collier. Stover is at defensive end, and here's Theismann back to throw on 3rd and long. And going long to Giapinto. And out of bounds, incomplete. And the 49er defense does its job after allowing that first down completion. Collier was the man back with Giapinto.
You know, an interesting thing on that play, Pat, is they brought in Fred Dean, the leading pass sacker, their best pass rusher. He usually plays on the right side. He should play against Joe Jacoby. He came in on the left side the first time he was in, and he lined up against George Stark. Interesting matchup.
Jeff Hayes back to kick for the Redskins, and this is Dana McLemore for the 49ers. He is dangerous. McLemore wearing gloves. Hayes gets off the high hanging kick, and a fair catch signal goes up, and the 49ers will take over at their own 35-yard line. Out quickly, only a 31-yard punt, no return, so that's the net, 31. You look at Bill Walsh. Nothing, first quarter. Championship game, the 49ers and the Redskins, RFK Stadium in Washington. At Summerall and John Madden in the 49ers' first possession. 1st and 10 from their own 35. No score yet. Tyler was in motion. Montana out to Russ Francis quickly. Francis got about 8. Heard it out of bounds in front of the Redskin bench. The lineups. The 49ers, Montana the quarterback, Wendell Tyler, and the rookie Roger Craig. The runners, Mike Wilson in place of Dwight Clark, Solomon, and Russ Francis, who just caught that pass, the tight end. Up front, a big 49er offensive line as well. Harris, Ayers, Quillen, Cross, and Keith Bonhorst. 2nd and 1. 2 tight ends for the 49ers. Eason, Ramsey, and Francis. They give to Tyler, and Tyler breaks into the Redskins secondary and into Redskin territory for a gain enough for a first down and more.
This is one thing the 49ers want to do. You see, you come out on first down and you throw the ball. You come back on second down. They run a little draw or delayed there to Tyler. You see, he started to the inside. He made Darrell Grant react to the inside, and then he bounced right outside of Grant.
That is the rookie safety man, Ken Coffey, the injured Redskin who had to come up and make the stop on Tyler. The 49ers get a first down. They move into Redskin territory to the Redskin 46. He has been replaced by Curtis Jordan, number 22 in the Redskins secondary. Coffey came off the field under his own power, so he probably will be back. 49er first down. They put Craig in motion, and Montana throws back to Tyler, who drops it. Darrell Green came up and hit him, and Tyler gets around the corner in the other direction, and now the Redskins' Anthony Washington takes him down, and it's a big loss for the Niners.
Could have been a much bigger loss, or it could have been a lot worse play had he not recovered the fumble. You watch, it's a flip or a toss play out here to the right. You see the reverse pivot. Now Tyler never got the handle on the ball. Luckily, he picked it up. Now he comes back and says, holy moly, too many white jerseys here. Let me see if I can find some friends out there. I do, but no one blocks Anthony Washington right there.
A loss of 9, so it's second down and 20. The 49ers back at their own 44. Jeff Moore was the man in motion, and Montana is back to throw. Has Jeff Moore. He can't find the handle, and it's incomplete. He never had it. Mel Kaufman on the coverage. The 49ers, and Bill Walsh particularly, said to us last night, we're going to get some people open. And so far, they've been able to do it.
That's what he said. You know, it's interesting how Bill Walsh does this, and it's different from any other coach. He scripts his plays. He has the first 25 plays scripted.
There's the Washington defensive line. They play 4 up front. Liebenstein, Butts, Grant, Dexter Manley, the secondary, and the linebackers, Hoffman, Olkowitz, and Rich Malott, all of whom had good years. It is now 3rd and 20 for the 49ers from their own 44. Montana back to throw. Now has to come out, chased by Butts, pointing. Montana up the sideline. Flags are down as Montana tiptoes back into Redskin territory. Knocked out of bounds. Montana was knocked out of bounds. He might be shaken a little bit. He picked up 18. He needed 20. Montana, magnificent athlete.
This is an interesting call here, Pat, because once the quarterback starts to run...
There's no foul on the play.
That's right. There's no foul. Thank you. Once the quarterback starts to run, now the defensive secondary can hit those receivers after 5 yards. So they lose all their protection. See, so they throw the flag when they think it's a pass. Let's watch it right here. You see, they think it's a pass. He throws the flag right there. And now, because it was a run and not a pass, you see those guys that were receivers are now blockers, so that's okay. So they pick up the flag. That was a good call.
And we'll keep watching Montana. Tom Oros is the punter for the 49ers, and Nick Giaquinto, who had that big punt return last week against the Rams, is back deep for the Redskins. Oros tries to go out of bounds, shanks it, and it does go out of bounds, but a lot quicker than he hoped. Let's see what happened to Montana. He seems okay. Walking without limping.
I tell you, he's a competitor, though. He was going for that first down, wasn't he?
Only a 7-yard punt. That hurts. Punt by Tom Oros.
You see what he was trying to do? He was pointing that ball towards the sideline. He was trying to go for the coffin corner, and he shanked the doggone thing, and he only got a 7-yard punt, which gives the Redskins good field position here.
They're at their 30, 1st and 10. They put Art Monk in motion. Theismann gives to Riggins. Here is their favorite play, that counter. And it only gets about 2 yards. Ricky Ellison is the man who made the hit. Guy Benjamin warming up over on the 49ers sideline. So it could be that Montana might have hurt himself when he was knocked out of bounds.
I'll tell you, that would be a disastrous blow for the 49ers. One of the problems is that you get your starting quarterback ready and he gets all the plays in practice. That backup really in a championship game doesn't get much work during the week.
Redskins go to work, and Theismann outside to Art Monk. Fumble. Carlton Williamson over there. Here is Montana. Sitting down with a jacket on and now takes it off. He was in front of the heater, and he doesn't seem to be limping.
Looks like they may have been checking his left knee. Did you see that sock was down there a little lower? But I've always said the indicator whether a player's going back in or not is whether he has his helmet on. Joe Montana has that helmet on. He's ready to go back in the next series.
Just warming his feet. First down, Redskins, their own 44. 10:09 left to play first quarter. No scorers yet. Here's Riggins. Hit behind the line of scrimmage. Riggins, who's had 5 consecutive playoff games where he's gained over 100 yards, is hit by Jim Stuckey this time, and he takes him down. Tina Turner with an assist.
Well, that's the thing that the 49er defense was talking about. You know, doing quick moves, not taking on those hogs. You know, not, you know, getting in those grunting contests, but trying to hit the gaps and get into the backfield.
Well, Bill Walsh said we were quicker than they are, and I don't think they know we're quicker than they are. So far, they've been able to control Riggins.
That's why they play the game, isn't it? We'll all find out.
Monk is the move man this time, and now Quinto goes left. And again, this time it's Joe Washington. And Washington surges into 49er territory, very close to a first down before Dwayne Board can make the stop.
I'll tell you, the job that the left tackle, Joe Jacoby, the biggest of all the Hogs, does on Fred Dean. Now, watch 74. Here's Fred Dean. He's playing the right side this time. Watch Jacoby. He gets him. He gets into him. Look, he gets him. You can't even see Dean anymore. It's like, oh, the sun. Where'd the sun go, man? And they run right inside him. I think Dean would rather go over the other side and play on start. I'll tell you, Joe Jacoby may be the best tackle in football today.
He's certainly one of the biggest, 6'7", and in the neighborhood of 300. There goes Clint Didier in motion, and this is Riggins over the left side, and Riggins gets the Redskin first down. It was third and needed to about a yard, and he got it. Willie Harper made the stop. Harper playing with a broken finger.
You know, it's interesting. They put Dean in on Stark on the first play. And the second play, they put him over there in Jacoby. The Redskins saw it and just ran right on him, at him.
There's that cast that Harper has on his left hand.
Well, as Bill Walsh said, he said the big thing is, you see, he has freedom of the wrist, that the cast is over the hand part, and he can't move and bend the wrist.
He probably won't get too many interceptions today, however. Here's Theismann back to throw. And he has Clint Didier. Didier hangs on and is knocked out of bounds by Carlton Williamson after a gain of 9.
Let's watch Didier out here. He'll go against Carlton Williamson, 27. He's a strong safety. See, he's looking into the backfield. Now he picks up Didier. Didier makes the out move, gets a jump on him, picks up the first down. Or the reception, second down, I'm sorry. Didier's an interesting story. He was a free agent that Joe Gibbs found when he was working out Lomax.
Washington, the ball carrier, replace Riggins. Washington breaks into the secondary inside the 49er 30. Willie Harper on the tackle.
We're just talking about Didier, who caught the ball on last play. Now watch on the left-hand side of the screen. He comes in motion, and he makes the lead block right there to spring Joe Washington to the inside.
Block on Carlton Williamson by Didier. Didier was a wide receiver in college, but he's grown a little since then. He's 6'5" and 240. Joe Washington still the lone setback. The 49ers fear him. Well, they should. Washington cuts back over the middle. Ball is loose, and the 49ers scramble and have it. Lawrence Pillars falls on it, and the Redskins will come away empty. Boy, that ball really popped out of there. Jack Reynolds made the hit that caused it.
Looked like a forward pass. Looked like it was shot out of a missile. Watch this thing. See if we can see Jack Reynolds there. He's number 64. He's reading it. Now watch. There goes right there, Joe Washington, he gets hit right there. I think it was by, it was someone else. It was Dwight Hicks, I think, who comes up and makes the play. Watch Hicks here, 22. He's the guy that hits the ball. He put his shoulder pad right on the ball. Whap! It goes right out of there.
And Pillars comes up with it. 0-0. Joe Washington just fumbled for Washington, and that's a rare occurrence for them. They led the NFL in the turnover category this year. A plus 43. That means they got it from you 43 times more than you got it from them. Montana starts Russ Francis in motion and goes back to throw. So he's okay. Pump fake by Montana. Out he comes. Montana chased out of bounds by Anthony Washington. What a good game nevertheless. He is, as I mentioned before, a magnificent athlete.
Well, you know, the interesting thing, both coaches said it. Joe Gibbs says, you know, the thing I worry about Montana is if he has something open, he can always hit it. But if he doesn't have something open, he can run and still get a big play on you. And that's what Bill Walsh was saying. He says, you know, we have to do that. He said, Joe Montana has to be able to run.
6:49 left to play in the first quarter. 0-0 score as they measure to see if Montana scrambled for that first down. He's about a foot short. Just not to belabor the point, but if you watched last week when the Redskins annihilated the Rams, the field was in very treacherous shape. Today it's pretty good.
And I think that's an advantage for the 49ers. I think all those things. I think the weather is better today, which is an advantage. The field is in better shape. And as we said earlier, they got in here on Thursday night. I think if you can adjust to that time difference, I think that they're able to do it. If that's possible. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean.
Because it's 9:30 back home. So they're just kind of, you know, used to getting up now and having a cup of coffee and getting the cobwebs out and stuff.
Coffee game. Second and about a foot. Montana fakes, pump fakes. Goes outside to Mike Wilson. And he has the 49er first down. Big shoes to fill for him. Dwight Clark, of course, their leading receiver and Montana's favorite target the last few years, is out with a knee injury, and Wilson has taken his place. But in talking to Dwight Clark Friday at practice, he said, hey, this guy is bigger than I am and faster than I am. He's got all the tools.
If he doesn't have the experience, or maybe the ability that Dwight Clark did, he definitely doesn't have the experience.
First down for the Niners. Their own 32. Montana. Play pass fake again. He goes deep. Incomplete. Intended for Freddie Solomon. Right there with him was Darrell Green. And he had some help from Anthony Washington.
Well, that's one of the plays that we knew we were going to see early. Remember, Bill Walsh was saying that we have to surprise them, we have to keep them off balance, and we want to go deep on them early. See, now, Bill Walsh, I was saying, he has the play scripted. He has the first 25 plays that he's going to run today on that sheet. He did that last night. He decided on those plays. He gave it to the players last night, and he stays with that order.
2nd and 10. They give to Tyler, and Tyler comes over the left side for about 4. Neil Olkowitz stopped him. Now the Redskins come in with their pass rushing unit, which includes Coleman, Tony McGee, and Perry Brooks. Vernon Dean also. So that's the nickel package.
And I'll bet you one thing that we'll see on this nickel package, because the Redskins, their front line, they like to stunt. You know, bring the end inside and the tackle outside. Against this today, I think we're going to see Joe Montana run out against it quite a bit.
Ronaldo Nehemiah is one of the 49er receivers. Montana throws outside, intended for Skeets Nehemiah, and he cut back inside. Let's look and see if they did indeed stunt that time.
Well, they always do on the passing downs. Now watch him here. We'll see Butts, 65, the tackle. He'll go to the outside. See, McGee starts to the inside. Here comes Brooks from the outside. That time it was a tackle stunt where Butts and the other tackle, Perry Brooks, crossed. But they always have some type of action going with that defensive line.
Tom Oros back to punt for the 49ers. This time he won't be aiming for out of bounds, and Quinto is deep for the Redskins. 49ers shifting around. 30-second clock down to 9 seconds. They haven't snapped it yet. Now they do. Oros throws this time, kicks away, and not a very good kick. Quinto handled, and is hit immediately, shakes a tackle. Quinto up the sideline, gets back, and the Redskins have it close to midfield. Good return. Again, not a very good punt. 31 yards is all, 15-yard return, so the net is 16. And Bill Walsh again said, we have to have a good game from Oros if we're going to win. So far, he hasn't done it. It's 0-0 with 5:42 left first quarter. Summerall, John Madden, RFK Stadium in Washington. 0-0 score. Redskins from midfield. Theismann will throw on first down. Trying to go deep. Looking for Didier. Can't get him. Keena Turner, who is, as far as linebackers go, the best of the pass defenders on the 49er side.
Here's how the 49ers call the play. Joe Gibbs tells the Redskins. Joe Gibbs tells Don Bro the play, and Don Bro gives the signal. There's a lot of stuff goes in that. You see Gibbs, I don't even know if he knows the signal. Bro works those out with Joe Theismann. They're going to be, here, boom, 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 boom.
It'll be 2nd and 10 as Monk moves to the right. Didier is on the flank, and now he goes in motion. Theismann looking left. Throws left. Incomplete. Throws high, intended for Charlie Brown, deflected by Ricky Ellison. It's quite a story, Ricky Ellison. A lot of people thought he wouldn't be able to play. His knees were so bad. But he's come on and become an outstanding player for the 49ers.
One of the people that thought that was John Robinson last week. Remember, he was saying, geez, that Ricky Ellison is a heck of a kid, but I never thought he'd be able to play with those knees.
But he's played and played extremely well.
I'll tell you one thing I like. The guy plays the game with emotion. Doggone it, that's the way it has to be played.
Redskins go on 3rd and 10 and go deep. They have a man. Knocked away at the last second, intended for Quinto. Ronnie Lott back there with him. Ronnie Lott made up the ground right at the end.
Ronnie Lott says he loves to play man-to-man coverage. He says, because I'm an athlete, and he says, I can use my athletic skills against another athlete. So he doesn't like that zone. He said, all you're doing, you're just part of the scheme. He said, man-to-man, let me play against my man, me and my guy type of deal.
Jeff Hayes has punted one time. This will be his second. Dana McLemore back deep for the 49ers. Nobody offside. Hayes off the side of his foot. Not a very good punt. Bounces in favor of the Redskins, however, down inside the 10, and they down it about the 8. Hayes got the good bounce. 42 yards it winds up to be, and inside the 10-yard line. He's had a very good year at that. Inside. It's Tyrone Crawley. All that coming up next weekend. On first down, Montana goes from his own goal line, trying to go deep for Solomon. And can't get him. Darrell Green right back there with him. Montana's upset about something.
I think, you know, the problem, I think, is the only guy that he had out there was Freddie Solomon, and I don't think he's upset with Freddie. I think he's upset with someone else who was probably supposed to be short in that pattern. You know, the one thing that they're trying to do offensively is loosen up this Redskin defense. You know, make them, you know, think deep, get back, you know, spread them out, get them back so that then they can make other things work.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 49er 8. This time the handoff to Wendell Tyler. He breaks a couple of tackles. Gets out past the 10 to about the 14 before Darrell Green and Rich Millott come up to make the hit and make the stop. Roger Craig has really developed for the 49ers. Not much doing so far today. But he and Wendell Tyler both carried the ball 176 times. How many times do you think something like that would work out? That's during the regular season. Craig 8 touchdowns, Tyler 4. Mel Kaufman is the injured Redskin down. Joe Gibbs seemed very relaxed when we visited with him. Day before yesterday and yesterday at practice.
He's not relaxed today.
No. See what happened to Kaufman if we can pick it up.
Well, he was a left linebacker, you know, and he's been doing a heck of a job. He replaced Monty Coleman as a starter, number 55, right there. You see, it looks like he gets in there on the tackle, and then the whole pile comes down on him. You never know what's going to happen to you when you get around those piles.
Sometimes that happens. Mel Kaufman. There is Jack Kent. Kaufman. One thing the Redskins have been able to avoid most of the year, they got some people hurt at the end of the year, but everybody got well. They had an extra week off, and they were pretty healthy.
You know, and just to show you the type of team that the Redskins is, do you see the guy that was over him? That was number 51, Monty Coleman. Monty Coleman was the starter at that left linebacker. He became injured. Mel Kaufman came in and played for him, and played so well that Monty Coleman didn't get back in. He comes in on the passing downs now, but now he's going to have to go in and play again in place of Kaufman.
Kaufman being assisted to his feet, appears to be okay. Will come out for a few plays, and as John Madden just told you, Coleman will take his place.
You know, one thing, it looks like he got hit in that head-shoulder area. You know how you get hit there and you get that twinge and it goes down and your arms go numb? You see how he's moving his hands and his arms and trying to get some feeling back there. But that's a scary feeling.
When you can't feel anything. 3rd and 3. 4:40 left to play in the first quarter. Still no score between the Redskins and the 49ers. Montana will throw for it. As Solomon loses it. Almost intercepted by Darrell Green, but he couldn't find the handle either. Solomon can't hang on. Mel Kaufman over on the Redskin bench being attended to. Tom Oros, who's had not a very good day so far.
Your average is 19.5.
You need more than that. Nick Giaquinto and Darrell Green back for the Redskins. It's going to be Giaquinto signaling for the full count. As the Redskins continue to squeeze in 49er territory, and they will operate from the Niner 48, a 33-yard punt. So Joe Theismann and the Redskin offensive unit come on. First quarter, no score. That's a little surprising already. 49er defense doing the job to which they were assigned. Theismann has Riggins behind him. 1st and 10 Redskins, their own, the 49er 48, and he gives to Riggins. Riggins burrows for about 4. Lawrence Pillars made the stop. Just to give you an idea, the offensive line of the Redskins, who call themselves the Hogs, look at the size of these guys. The average, 285 pounds plus. And the height, 6'5". Jacoby the biggest. And their opponents, you can see this 49er defensive line average of 242. That's the 2 linebackers in the middle. In addition to the line, as Riggins tries to get around the corner, is cut down on the outside, gets to the 40.
I'll tell you one thing, the 49er defense is really doing a pretty good job here early of not giving Riggins anything, especially to the inside. And that's what they want to do, you know, is hold up that inside, make him bounce, or make him go to the outside. But I'll tell you one thing about those Hogs and Riggins is they wear you down. And they're never as good early as they are later.
That was Keena Turner who tripped him up that time. So it'll be 3rd down for the Redskins. They need about 2. Washington has replaced Riggins. Giaquinto with the man in motion as Theismann goes back to throw and throws. Incomplete. Charlie Brown upset because he thought he had it. Was not a good throw from Theismann.
Again, the big thing here is Fred Dean. You see 74. They want to get him in the pass rush. He's their pass rusher. They have to get him off Joe Theismann. But doggone it, when you're going against a hog like Jacoby, that's tough. And when you give him help and you double team, that's a double tough deal.
You don't get off the line very often. Jeff Hayes back to kick for the Redskins. Dana McLemore back deep for San Francisco. Hayes hangs it. McLemore gets away from it. Redskins down it at about the 1-foot line. Monty Coleman was the first man down, a 39-yard punt. No return, and the 49ers will operate from their own 1-foot line. Bostic was another down there quickly.
See, now Monty Coleman's the first guy down here. Watch him here. He's the outside guy, 51, coming down the field. Now, if there's no returner going to catch it, he can catch it. You see, he sees there's no red shirt runner. He says, I can catch that ball. Now watch, he goes to catch it, but he doesn't want it in the end zone, so he makes a smart heads-up play, just taps it out, and they get it right there in the 1-yard line. There's Jeff Bostic, the center down there. Pretty good play by Coleman. That's a heads-up play.
Excellent. He has great speed. Montana out of the end zone, gets it outside to Craig, and Craig is cut down at about the 1 by Darrell Green. They only got a yard.
I'll tell you, if that Darrell Green isn't the rookie of the year defensively, he may be one of the whole best in the whole league as a corner. This guy's all over the place. Watch him here. Little loop out there in the end zone. Watch Darrell Green come up there and make that tackle right there. Someone asked him, what do you think when you have to come up and tackle? He said, I don't think anything. I just go out and tackle him.
I don't think about, not about size, nothing. 49ers with 2 tight ends again. Wendell Tyler gets out to about the 8. And the Redskins knock him back. Monty Coleman on the tackle. But at least they got some breathing room.
I'll tell you, that's a big play. You know, the thing that you have to think of here is you need 15 yards for your punter. So you always want to get the ball first out beyond the 5, because then the punter can punt from his normal distance.
Montana looking over at the sideline. That 30-second clock is now becoming a factor, although they can't lose too much. It's down to 12 seconds now, less than that.
They aren't going to get
this play off. Timeout. They have to use a timeout. With 1:29 left to play in the first quarter, and it's still the 49ers nothing, the Redskins nothing. Montana had to take a timeout and go over and talk with his coach, Bill Walsh. That's Guy Benjamin, the other quarterback, talking to him. Next Saturday, our coverage of college basketball continues with the battle of ACC powers, North Carolina and Wake Forest. 2 top 10s playing, top 10 teams, I should say, playing a game that could have a significant bearing on the ACC standings. Get a look at the Tar Heels' outstanding guard, Michael Jordan, who is thought by many to be the top player in college basketball. It's next Saturday at 2 Eastern time here on CBS. Bill Montana over talking with Bill Walsh.
Well, the 49ers were forced to take a timeout. You always like to save those 3 timeouts in bunches for the end of the half and the end of the game. And at that time, I think they had a play in there, but they didn't have enough players or the right players. So they got a thing in, calling the play and getting the substitution in.
That 30-second clock at the opposite end of the field, which Montana has to look at, is in bright sunshine, and it's very difficult to see from down on the field. Here's Montana back to throw, and out quickly to Russ Francis. Francis staggers and struggles and gets the 49er first down. Mark Murphy made the stop. 12-yard pickup, and the 49ers get some more room.
So what they did on this play, they go in motion, see, and get the motion man, then they bring Russ Francis a tight end on a slant. He gets in the slant. Now, he started out, he was the 2nd man in. Now the motion made him the 3rd man in, so the weak safety, Mark Murphy, had to come over to make that play. That's a pretty good play. But I mean, he's the 2nd man. Now you put a motion man outside of him. Now he's the 3rd man in, so the weak safety had to come over and take him.
1st and 10 as Tyler goes in motion. Here's Montana looking and throwing, and the ball is batted around and almost intercepted by Coleman, but it stays on the ground. Incomplete. Mark Murphy made the deflection. 49ers have had a tough situation as far as when they began their offensive unit. When they started in action from their own 17, their own 8, and their own 1. Bill Walsh felt that they could throw the ball against the Redskin defense and felt they would have to in order to win. Clock still running in the first quarter. Stopped now with 42 seconds. Here is Tyler. Tyler breaks a tackle and gets out to about the 29. Ken Coffey came up. Tyler running hard.
I think this is one of the things that improved the 49ers when they got Wendell Tyler in a trade and drafted Roger Craig, that now they have a little running attack. You know, before that, the year they went to the Super Bowl, they were really a passing team. But now they have an opportunity to mix.
So they'll measure and see if Tyler got another first down, and he did.
You know, Bill Walsh was telling us last night that Russ Francis is at the top of the game, atop of his game. Now watch him. He comes down here on Dexter Manley, does a nice job of caving him in, caving that defensive end in, and then Tyler can get off out to that side.
That was the block that sprung Tyler for the first down. The 49ers, who started this drive at their own 1-foot line, have moved it out for 2 first downs, and now 10 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Still no score. And the Niners will not try to get another play off. They'll let it run out.
That was Big Dexter. He was saying, where'd that guy come from? Yeah. He blocks like a tackle, that guy.
So at the end of 1 quarter, it is the 49ers nothing, the Redskins nothing. Beginning of the second quarter, yards rushing. San Francisco already has 52, and the Rams only had 51 in the entire game last week. The 49ers so far have been able to do what they plan to do or hope to do. That is, except get on the scoreboard. This is Roger Craig over the left side for about a yard. Darrell Grant, an unheralded, outstanding defensive tackle, made the stop, number 72. Is Dexter Manley, who also assisted.
There's Darrell Grant. He's number 77. You know, when you think of the inside of that Redskin defense, you always think of Dave Butts, but that Darrell Grant, you know, he's that quiet guy, but I'll tell you, he's strong as heck in there.
A yard for Craig. 2 make it. It's 2nd and 8. Ramson was the man in motion. Montana out of the pocket. Flag is down as Montana throws complete to Mike Wilson, but they'll bring it back. It's going to be against the San Francisco 49ers, and Jerry Markbreit, the referee, will tell us who did it.
You see, that's the thing about Joe Montana. The Redskin defense got a good push on him. The 2 tackles, the 2 big tackles in there, Grant and Butts got the push, and he's able to run away and get to the outside and still complete the pass. But maybe he needed a hold to help him on that one. That may have been one of the guards holding one of those tackles.
Number 68, offense.
68 is John Ayers, so make it 2nd down now.
It was one of the guards blocking one of those tackles that were getting a push in there.
Second and 18. Montana has Solomon in motion. He gives to Wendell Tyler. Tyler hit right at the line of scrimmage by Ken Coffey. He is back in the game after being shaken up earlier. Came up to make a good hit.
You know, one of the things we talk about the Redskin defense, you know, and their defensive line and linebackers, but this guy has a lot to do with it there, 48 Coffey, because they always commit on running down one of their defensive backs to help on the run, and it's usually the strong safety, Ken Coffey.
Just a rookie, but a very good rookie. Bill Ring in the game for the 49ers. Here's Montana chased, going deep. Kenneth Wilson incomplete. No interference as Anthony Washington was back there with him. Montana was hit by Perry Brooks just as he let it go.
I'll tell you one thing, the 49ers are doing a good job. They had another holding penalty on that play too, Pat. It'll probably be declined here anyway. But the thing they're doing a good job of is throwing short, throwing medium, throwing deep, and keeping this Redskin defense off balance.
And keeping the Redskin offense off the field, which is one of the things they felt they had to do.
Holding number 81, offense, declined, fourth down.
It's against Russ Francis. And as you heard Jerry Markbreit say, it's declined. Back to punt. Tom Orr, here's Francis.
There's Russ Francis. You see, they're keeping him in there to help block on Tony McGee. See his right hand? It's right up there in the jersey. He just kept it up. He kept it there too long. You can do that a little while. Get it. You'll get that hook up there, square him up, but you can't keep it there.
4-6. Again, not a very good one. Quinto handles. Now he throws a lateral across the field to Darrell Green. Then Green streaks down the sideline, and Green is gone for a touchdown. And a penalty marker is down back at midfield. They'll bring the whole thing back. Apparently it was not a lateral, or at least that's what they're saying. It looked backward to me.
Looked backward to me, too. You know, and that's a play that the Redskins have been working on. Darrell Green usually isn't back there. Had Giaquino catch the ball, boom, throw it out there to Green. This is going to be an interesting call.
There is no hesitation on the part of Jerry Markbreit. Let's see what the call is.
Illegal forward pass, number 30, receiving team. First down, timeout.
Let's see this again here. He said it's an illegal forward pass. Okay, now Giaquinto right here catches the ball. He's on about the 47-yard line, and he throws the ball here. Let's see where Green catches it. I don't know. That's about as close as you can get. Wayne Sevier, the special teams coach, the guy who put in the play, is talking to the referee right now.
It was very close.
This pass again. Here's Giaquino. Now here's his foot. Now he's going to throw back in. And let's see where Darrell Green catches the ball. Okay, now there's where he threw it from. It's about the 47. Now it looks awfully close. Now if we can stop it right here when he catches it, we can see the ball right here. And that, if that was a forward pass, it may have been, but that was a forward pass by inches.
Just barely.
You know, because I guess if you mark the ball, it may have been a forward pass.
So Theismann's offensive unit, after the touchdown is nullified, comes onto the field, and the Redskins take over at their own 44. Riggins is the back. The counter play. Riggins stopped by Carlton Williamson after a pickup of 23 yards.
I'll tell you one thing, you can hold them down for a little while, but they just keep pounding. Now watch this play. Here it's a counter. John Riggins will step to his left a little, then come back to the right. Behind his right guard, Grimm pulls, his tackle pulls, and this whole thing comes around this right side. Watch it here, all those lines. Watch here, you get a little counter step. Now there goes Grimm, there goes Jacoby. You see that big hole there? He gets right in behind him, splits it, and whap, he's up the field.
Russ Grimm did a heck of a job. Here's Riggins again. Over the left side. Hit by Keena Turner. Picked up a couple.
I think John Riggins likes to run that counter play and get in behind that big Joe Jacoby and Russ. You know, that's a comfortable feeling.
Yeah.
Riggins pats one back, says, hey, my guys. They have a little shed that they get together at the practice field after that.
Yep.
Stuff in there. Little 5 o'clock club, they call it.
Riggins is big, but behind those two guys, you can't even see him. Second down and 7. Here's Riggins again. Hit by Pete Kugler. Falls forward for a couple. Kugler doing a good job in the middle.
I'll tell you, he did a nice job on that play of taking away the cutback Riggins was trying to start off to his right and cut back to his left. Let's watch here. See, now he's trying to cut back. Kugler's right there. Now watch Riggins right there at the end get hit. He says, holy moly. Looks like someone brought their fist right down on him.
Here's Dwayne Ford. Here's Theismann back to throw and throwing outside, incomplete. Knocked away by Keena Turner and Eric Wright, the other 49er defender. Alvin Garrett was the intended receiver. And here's Mark Moseley, who was 3 for 3 against the Rams last week.
And this is tough kicking here from the middle of the field because that whole thing in there is sand. You know, they replanted the middle and they put a lot of sand in there. John Riggins said last week, he said it's like playing in Long Beach.
This will be from 45 yards out with Theismann holding and Mark Moseley trying to put the first points on the board. No good. Wide right, and things are not going as well today as they did last week for the kicker or for the Redskin team. And it's still 0-0 with 11:02 left in the first half. 49ers take over.
More time, and see here, here's where the ball is. You see, now that's what it is, and now let's watch where it's caught. See, we see it here, and you look at it, looks like it's darn near looks parallel to me, but then we stop it right here. Now you watch it there, and I guess it is just inches forward.
That was a correct call after you look at it like that. It's the ball, not the people.
That's about as close as you can get them.
That's right.
That's good for seeing that with raw eyes, some official.
Here's Craig, who gets nothing. Monty Coleman was the first Redskin to make contact. He had some help from Darrell Grant.
You know what we're seeing here is a pretty good defensive battle here. I mean, these two teams are really going after each other.
The 49ers felt that they were quicker than the Redskins from a defensive standpoint. They also felt they could throw the ball. So far, the Redskin defensive unit's been doing a good job, and so have the 49ers. It'll be 2nd and 9. Craig got a yard. Solomon stood out wide to the left. Craig was the man in motion. Montana back to throw. Gets it outside to Mike Wilson. Pickup of about 6 or 7 yards. Let's pick up the defense.
Well, you know, one thing, the 49ers are getting good pass protection. Now watch Randy Cross here on Dave Butts. He's doing a good job. I mean, Butts is a big 300-pound guy. He's the guy that gets a push on the quarterback. Randy Cross is taking him short, taking him quick, right there in the line. Right now, and then keeping him close to the line of scrimmage so that Montana can throw over.
That's something the 49ers do a little differently. They take those people early, right at the line of scrimmage.
Short sets, and you have to do that against those big guys.
Wilson split wide to the left. Montana back to throw. Looks, throws. Incomplete. It was Jeff Moore. Pass is incomplete. There's a wild scramble going on, but the pass is incomplete.
No one told Anthony Washington it was incomplete. He was chasing that thing down the sidelines. That's the way you teach your players. You know, if there's ever a ball in the ground, go for it. Let the officials decide after. But don't think you heard a whistle. Don't think the play's over. Go after it. And that's why these guys are playing in a championship game, because they do these types of things. See the ball there? He starts here. He never really had control of it, and the ball was hit right there by the shoulder pad. That was close, too.
It was. But he never did, as you say, have possession. Oros back to punt again. Giaquinto is the lone safety. No Darrell Green back there with him this time. Low snap. Giaquinto at his 30. Looking for someplace to go. Is hit hard by Ron Ferrari, who always seems to be down quickly and early for the 49ers. 37-yard punt this time, a 31-yard net after a 6-yard return. 0-0 score. Week. The first 5 possessions all resulted in points. This week, a different story. A punt, a fumble, a punt, and a missed field goal. Now they have it at their own 36-yard line. 9:18 left to play in the first half. Theismann will throw on first down and going to work deep. Caught by Didier at the 49er 20-yard line. Clint Didier as the defender. Carlton Williamson fell down just as the ball arrived. 46-yard gain. Let's see what happened.
I think the 49ers are saying he didn't fall down. He's pushed. Let's watch it right here. Didier's going for the ball. I don't know if that left hand pushed him or not, but it was still a pretty good play and a pretty good catch. Carlton Williamson got up and said that he was pushed on that play. Let's show Theismann here. He really gave it everything he had. And boom, does he get hit by Jim Stuckey.
First down, Redskins. The San Francisco 19. Monk went in motion. They give on the counter to Riggins again, and Riggins inside the 15 to about the 12. Dan Buns made the stop. That familiar counter play again.
Let's watch that counter play. This has gotten to be the biggest play that John Riggins runs now. Same type of thing. Here he is. He'll start here. Now this time he pulls. Jacoby pulls. Riggins starts with him. The defense reacts out here to the pull, and Riggins just cuts it back. Watch him. He just runs away from his tackle on the left. He likes to get in here behind Jacoby. He says, wait a minute, there's a bigger hole right there. I don't need Jacoby. The defense ran with Jacoby, and Riggins cut back.
He got 6 or 5. And Riggins again goes to the outside. Can't find any place to go. Good pursuit by the 49er defense, led by Ricky Ellison.
Ricky Ellison's probably saying, when I see it once, I may overrun it. But I'm not going to overrun it the second time. See, that first time the linebackers pursued, and they got in with Jacoby and Grimm, and that time they just waited.
Here comes the pass rushing unit led by Fred Dean. Bobby Leopold also joins him.
It'll be interesting to see where he lined up. He's going to line up here over Jacoby. He's lined up at both ends and in the middle once so far.
Joe Washington. It'll be a Redskin first down. It'll be first and goal as Ronnie Lott makes the stop. 8-yard pickup and a Redskin first down. Keena Turner also on the tackle.
Watch Joe Jacoby on Dean here. See, he steps out. He's just so big that once he gets there, he just pushes him right on by Theismann. Theismann has time to look, to see, and to step up and make the throw.
They're at the 4. First and goal.
Now we're going to see Riggins for about 2 or 3 plays in a row, or however long it takes him to get it in.
Walmsley is the other back, and he comes in motion, and they give to Riggins. Riggins swings to the outside, breaks a tackle, and steps into the end zone. Jack Reynolds was the 49er who had the last shot at him. One man in the open field against that guy has very little chance.
You always think of how big and strong he is, but he's quick too, and he has very quick feet.
Moseley drills the extra point, and it's 7-0 Washington.
Look at Riggins' hat. He's got a different type of hat. Watch this run. Everyone knows Riggins is going to carry the ball. He always does down here in the goal line. He starts inside. There's nothing in. He bounces it to the outside. Here's Jack Reynolds coming one-on-one. Riggins against Reynolds. Riggins just put his right arm down a little, gives him a little shot right into the end zone.
Reynolds never got to his body. And Riggins got in. 7-0. Washington over San Francisco. And again by Riggins. This, of course, is Jack Reynolds, number 64. And watch the footwork and the strength.
Watch him. He just gives him a little straight arm. He kicks that right foot right away from Reynolds into the end zone. He only averages about 3.3 yards a carry, but the big thing he does is short yardage and goal line.
This is Dana McLemore off the sideline, stepping out of bounds. When the Redskins score first, which they have just done, they usually win. They've won 20 out of their last 21 games when they they scored first. Over on the 49er bench, the schoolyard.
What they're talking about is that double team on the nose tackle.
First down for San Francisco. Joe Montana, the quarterback. There's Craig and Tyler behind him. Redskins blitz. Montana goes for Russ Francis and misses him. Ken Coffey was back there, and Montana has to pick himself off the turf.
I'll tell you, you talk about pass rush, and you always think of sacks, but there's another thing. It's when you get a push, when you don't sack the guy, but you're right at his feet so that he can't step forward. You see that right there? You see on that play there, it was Coleman was right there, and he couldn't step up. And that does funny things to the ball.
Makes it take off sometimes. Montana's just 5 out of 14 now for 33 yards. Second down and 10. That's Solomon in motion. 6 minutes, just over 6 minutes left to play in the first half. But Montana goes deep. He has somebody, Wilson, who had a step. But Montana just missed.
That was on Anthony Washington. You know, Bill Walsh was telling us last night, he says, we're going to get guys open. And he says, we'll get them open deep. He said, but the thing is, he says, we have to hit them. Now that time, that was double coverage. Anthony Washington outside, Mark Murphy inside, and he had about 2 or 3 steps on him, but they didn't get the completion.
And look at Montana's reaction.
Oh, no, we worked too hard. Oh, we had the guy open.
We had him, we missed him. And as Bill Walsh said, you can't afford that. Roger Craig is the lone setback. Montana back to throw, and the Redskins try to put on some pressure. Montana gets it to Francis, and the penalty marker goes down. Monty Coleman made the stop on Francis.
That's going to be a double penalty. That penalty is going to be about Russ Francis, on Russ Francis. As he got started to get up, he threw an elbow.
There's Darrell Green, who's down.
I wonder if that's who Russ Francis elbowed. His official, Burl Toller, he called that one, but there's another one over on this side, too.
See what happened to Darrell Green. He had such a great game last week. All over the place again this week.
We have a personal foul, number 81, offense. We have holding, number 51, defense, penalties offset, third down.
So that's the explanation. Darrell Green is still down.
Looks like his left shoulder. Let's see it right here. See, he goes down. He's on the tackle now. It looked like his left shoulder there. I don't know if he got kicked right at the end of the play or just hit his left shoulder when he went down.
It's like he landed on his shoulder when he came down with his arm extended. Joe Gibbs with concern on his face, and with good reason. Washington leads San Francisco 7-0 with 5:51 left to play first half. Sponsored by the National Football League. Darrell Green up and off under his own power.
Now what happens here is Russ Francis at the end of the play, as he goes to get up here, he's going to throw his right elbow right back there, you see, at Monty Coleman. Now, Monty Coleman was the guy who held him originally. So Coleman held him. They called that. Coleman covered him. And then Francis, you see right here. See, here's Coleman holding. See the left arm in there and around the neck? So they called that for holding. Then at the end of the play, Francis said, hey, you held me. Whack! He gave him the elbow in the head. So it's the old double dipper. Nothing happened.
And it's still third down. 49ers at their own 24. Washington leading 7-0. 5:51 left to play first half. Nehemiah was the man in motion. Montana overthrows Mike Wilson. And the 49ers have to punt again. He had nobody open.
I'll tell you, I think that's where they really missed Dwight Clark on those type of things. Those third down plays. Montana and Dwight Clark were so close that had Dwight Clark, they would probably hit those type of things.
Tom Oro's having a tough day, averaging only 28 yards 28.4 to be exact. Nick Giaquinto back deep for the Redskins. Got this one. Good kick. Giaquinto retreats to his own 30. 49ers down in a hurry, and Ron Ferrari one more time is the first man there. A 47-yard punt this time. Back on third down, just a minute ago.
Let's watch Tony McGee here. You know, we've been talking about Fred Dean. Tony McGee is the Redskins guy that comes in, but watch the battle between he and Keith Fahnhorst. Fahnhorst gets that right arm up there. He just keeps it there. He keeps it, then he gets the left hand. I'll tell you, these guys are really going after each other down there in the pit.
First down, Redskins, their own 36. Theismann has Riggins behind him. Fakes to Riggins. He goes outside to Charlie Brown. He shakes away from Tina Turner. Got about 8. Eric Wright comes over to make the stop.
That's what the Redskins do so well. They, you know, everything is in a package. Like they run Riggins, then they fake to Riggins, hold the linebackers, and pop a pass somewhere.
Theismann 6 out of 12 for 96 yards so far. It'll be second and short, 2nd and 2. Brown and Monk. Well, Brown comes wide left. Monk lines up in the backfield. He'll come out of there. And there he goes. They give to Riggins. Riggins knocked off his feet, short of a first down. Pete Kugler wins the push in the middle.
I'll tell you, he and Jeff Bostic are really having a matchup in there. You know, that's the thing. On a 3-man line, the nose tackle can't get moved backwards. Watch Kugler. He gets his hands up. He gets Bostic going backwards. There's nothing there, and Kugler comes off, and he's waiting right there for Riggins. When you play a 3-man line, that guy right there is the most important guy, the nose tackle. Now, on offense, the center blocking him is the most important guy. Kugler won that one.
Riggins only got a yard. That's Walmsley doing the dance, and this is Riggins over the right side, and he barrels for the first down and bangs to the 49er 44. Eric Wright finally made the stop, but Riggins runs over everybody except Eric Wright.
Look at him. He nods to his Hawks. He says, good job. Walmsley goes in motion to the left, comes back to the right. Here comes Riggins right in there behind Markbreit. You see his right guard pull that time. 73 Markbreit. He pulled just whack, put someone down. Riggins is right in there behind him.
3:40 left to play as you look at the book on Riggins. First down for the Redskins at the 49er 44. Here comes the counter play again. Riggins is hit behind the line of scrimmage and taken down for a loss this time. Willie Harper made the stop. Tina Turner was the first man to hit him behind the line of scrimmage. There's Harper playing with a hand and a cast.
That's the thing the 49ers have to do is get someone in the backfield. That time, Tina Turner, the right linebacker, must have been cross-keying, looking at the right side of the Redskins, because the minute they started, Turner went boom. He got right in that backfield, and he got Riggins stopped before he could turn his shoulders.
Second down and 14. Giaquinto is split wide to the left. Here's Theismann back to throw. Has Joe Washington out of the backfield. Bobby Leopold knocked him out of bounds, a 9-yard gain. And it'll be third down.
It's a good combination the Redskins have. They use Riggins in the short yardage and pound away at you. Then they bring in Joe Washington. There's Don Bro calling the plays. Look at all those things you have to go through to. You think that's a pass or a run?
I think it's a pass.
I think it's a pass, too. Third down, it should be a pass.
Alvin Garrett's come in the game, so the odds are pretty good it is. Don Warren has come out. Fred Dean into the scheme for the 49ers. Jacoby comes out on Dean. Theismann has Alvin Garrett. They say he is out of bounds. Tim Collier was the defender. No Moseley will get Jeff Hayes. Let's look at it. Just 1 foot.
You know, the interesting thing yesterday, Pat, after practice, Joe Theismann only kept one guy out, and it was Alvin Garrett, and they were working on that exact pass after practice, just the two of them. They were the last two players out on the field, and they were working on those outs to the right.
43 is Dana McLemore, standing back at the San Francisco 10-yard line as Hayes is back to punt. He's a good athlete. He can take off with it. Hayes down the sideline for a Redskin first down.
Take off of that. You know, he's one of the fastest guys in the team. That's what Joe Gibbs said when he first got him. He said, I like this guy because he can kick, but he's one of the fastest guys we have, so there's always a threat that he can run. That time a little fake, boom, out to the right. He knows where the first down sticks are, and he gets it. Watch number 71, Charles Mann's block here. You see, he starts in here. Now he turns his man, drives him back, Bill Ring, and then the punter can get to the outside. Jeff Hayes looks like a fullback.
Theismann ready to go to work and does quickly. Theismann scrambling up the middle. Theismann slides down at the 20. Pick up a 5. Ricky Allison made sure that Joe stayed down.
How did you know Jeff Hayes was going to run that? Just before you said he'll run with it, you know.
I just had a feeling.
It must be some fraternity you kickers belong to where you talk about those types of things and you have feelings.
He wasn't born when I was kicking. At the 20. Redskins have it, and that's the 2-minute warning. The Redskins still have all their timeouts remaining as Riggins gets a little drink.
That fake punt again. Now here's Ron Ferrari out here. Now to block a punt, you have to come in at this angle. He does. He comes in, and now what happens? Jeff Hayes sees it, gives him a little fake, and just runs right around Ferrari. Now watch, he's the force guy. From the outside on the right-hand side, he's going to come barreling in to a block point right there. Hayes gets outside. Now there's no one out there to get the first down. Really, Ferrari had to do what he had to do because that's the point you go for the block. You don't go right at the guy.
Joe Washington has replaced Riggins, and the handoff is to Washington. He skips for a couple over the right side. Pete Kugler again makes the stop for the 49ers. A little altercation going on between Mark May of the Redskins and Lawrence Pillars of the 49ers. Offense this quarter. Redskins 140 and San Francisco 8. So with that kind of figure, it's remarkable the score is only 7-0.
Look at that Russ Grimm break the huddle there, number 68. You talk about a man being a man. There's a guy. He fills out a uniform for you.
Broke a chair for you yesterday, the day before. Theismann on a roll. Going for Monk, and it's broken up at the last second by Eric Wright. Good defensive play by Wright. It'll be 3rd down. 4th down now as Mark Moseley comes on.
I've always felt that Eric Wright may be one of the most underrated players on this 49er team. You know, he's a right cornerback. He plays a lot of man-to-man out there, and he always seems to be there. He's a real solid player, good cover man. They don't talk much about this guy.
But as you say, he is a real solid player. From 34 yards now for Moseley to make it 10-0. Theismann gets it down, spins it. Moseley misses wide right. And the 49ers hang in there. Moseley has missed 2 now. That one's certainly makeable. Watch how it affects him. And Don Bro, the Redskin coaching staff on the right side of your picture. How does it affect him? You get out of the picture.
And Joe Gibbs, you bend your head a little.
And the Redskin defense moves back onto the field. And they've been doing a whale of a job. Montana gives to Wendell Tyler, and Tyler in the grasp of Darrell Green gets out to about the 26-27. Anthony Washington over there to help out. Clock running 55 seconds, less than that now. 49ers have 2 timeouts remaining. Montana does not use that one. Mike Wilson makes the first down reception. And now that'll stop the clock.
Well, see, with 46 seconds and having their 2 timeouts, the 49ers do have time for a shot, especially the first thing you want to think of here is to get in range for a field goal. So you need about 40 yards. You know, 2 plays around 20 yards, that gets you in field goal range.
That's the first down for the 49ers this quarter. Montana has had a frustrating first half. Brady Solomon cuts back. Solomon still on his feet, now goes down at the Redskin 45. Now they take a timeout. 35 seconds left on the first half clock. 49ers still have 1 timeout remaining.
That's all you have to do. Here's Freddie Solomon against Darrell Green. Darrell Green's short. He has a man deep, so he can bump him, run underneath. Freddie Solomon runs it in. He catches it right here. Boom, straight up the field. He was trying to make a big play there. That's a nice move. You know, not think you're going down. Don't try and spin, get back, make something happen. Get a big play.
Bill Walsh and Joe Montana over on the sideline, coming up at halftime at RFK Stadium in Washington. Redskins leading the 49ers 7-0. Pat Summerall and John Madden. There is some confusion. And now the 49ers appear to be set. Nehemiah in motion. Montana under the pressure of Dave Butts gets away from Butts. Now Chase gets away from another Redskin, Dexter Manley. Now throws complete after a great scramble. Ronaldo Nehemiah came up with a catch at the Redskin 40. 21 seconds. Montana scrambled for 14 seconds.
That's what a guy can do. And the other thing, they only picked up 5 yards on that play. They're still not in field goal range. Let's watch this. Here's Dave Butts. He's going against Randy Cross. Pretty good matchup, but he's the guy that made Montana get out of there. See that push in the middle? Now Montana keeps going, keeps looking, has his receivers working, finally finds Nehemiah right here, but they only pick up 5 yards, and they're still not in field goal range. They need 1 more completion.
And they use their last timeout. Ray Wershing, 49er kicker, over loosening up.
Remember when they used that timeout in the first quarter? I said that those things really do haunt you because you like to save them in bunches of 3, and it's going to hurt them here. Because if they had that timeout, they could complete a pass anywhere in the field, take the timeout, and kick the field goal. Now, I think they're going to have to go to the sidelines or maybe even be forced to go deep to the end zone.
If they complete a pass in the middle of the field, it would be awfully difficult to get the field goal unit on the field in time.
Well, what they could do is maybe complete a pass, line up, throw it out of bounds, and get the field goal team in.
See what Montana does. Throws outside to complete to Craig, and Craig gets out of bounds. Stopped by Rich Malott, and that does stop the clock.
Yeah, but it was one of the worst passes that I've ever seen in that situation. I think they gained 5 inches. They still, if you're going to throw the ball, get it up the field. I mean, get something to complete a pass that goes for a yard. That doesn't make any sense in this situation.
16 seconds now left to play in the first half. The ball is at the Redskin 37-yard line. Washington leading 7-0. And it's 3rd down. Russ Francis started in motion, stays into block. Montana scrambles out to his right, throws. Intended for Mike Wilson, incomplete. Brian Carpenter was the Redskin defender, and that'll bring up a 4th down with 10 seconds left to play in the first half. No timeouts left for San Francisco. Wershing, who never looks at the goalpost, just checks out the hash marks. Comes on.
He doesn't look at anything except down. You see, he's feeling Joe Montana there. Now watch him when he gets his spot. He's not going to look up at all. Oh, he took a little peek that time.
Yeah,
he sneaked a peek.
Well, that's a long way out, 55 yards. That might get, no. About 4 yards short. Straight enough, but not far enough. 5 seconds left to play in the first half. You think the Redskins will run it out or go for something?
I think with 5 seconds, I think you go for something. You take a shot because, you have the chance of, hitting the shot. You have a chance of a defensive penalty. And, of course, the half can end on a defensive penalty. And there's really not a lot of risk because there's only 5 seconds. Even if you did have a turnover, they wouldn't have time to do anything with it anyway.
It would appear that you're right, John, as Joe Washington is in.
No, it's a championship game.
Right.
Take a shot. Don't worry about the horse being blind. Just load the wagon. Go get him. Here they got 3 guys out here.
You have Quinto, Brown, and Monk all wide to the left. And Theismann's throwing the old alley-oop. Pass is intercepted by Eric Wright. And that'll do it for half number 1. Surprisingly low-scoring first half number 1. Washington on a touchdown by Riggins and Moseley's extra point at the half. The Redskins are ahead 7-0. San Francisco hanging tough.
Lead the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 7-0. Welcome back to RFK. I'm Brent Musburger along with Dick Vermeil and Jimmy the Greek. And Dick, let me ask you this. You've been in this situation. If you were Bill Walsh, what would you say to the 49ers right now in that locker room?
Well, Brent, I'd take this approach. Guys, we have taken the world champions' best shots in this first half, and we're only 1 play out of the ball game. Now let's us deliver our best shots.
Jimmy, you like the 49ers coming in. You have to be pleased. You're only down by 7.
I know, Brent, but they could have been down 17-0 just as easy. Montana's got to go long. He's got to go long to beat that defense secondary.
All right, let's go to some of the highlights now, Dick. I was very surprised when Jack Reynolds missed this tackle. I haven't seen him blow many like this.
Well, it's a combination, number 1, of a fine running back, and then number 2, Jack fundamentally broke down. He didn't get his helmet across in front of that big back. See the helmet go behind? And there was not enough leverage there, and he ran right through that right arm.
Even in the NFL, they can make the same mistakes as the high school
fundamentals
kids.
Are the key to the game.
I'll tell you what the key has been, too, the performance of the special teams. How about Monty Coleman coming downfield for this game?
Really did a great job. You don't see this very often. He's a great sprinter. Now, he has good speed, fine linebacker. The punter's hung the ball up in the air. It's hanging up there probably 4.5 seconds. He's right at the goal line now, and he's going to prevent it from crossing the plane and knock it back, putting the 49ers on the 1-foot line. That's a long field, Brent.
All right, we're going to be back to find out what might happen here in the second half. When we look ahead, we'll also check in on that Steeler-Raider game, see what the Greek thinks. We'll do that right after these messages from your local stations. Well, Seahawks, one should never confuse a Seahawk with a Steeler. They have done a splendid job, and they're playing for the AFC title, Greek, against the LA Raiders. I even hesitate to ask you, what's the score going to be?
I'll tell you this, Brent. Those Seahawks are a tough ball club, and that coach motivates this team. Don't forget to beat them twice. But the thing, when they did beat them twice, they didn't have Branch in either one of the 2 games, and not Mark Haynes also. But the Seahawks have Warren and the best special teams in football. This will be a tough ball game, but the Raiders will be there.
Surprise, surprise. Let's look ahead now, Dick, toward the second half of this game. You told me early on you thought the Redskins were going to have to adjust their pass patterns, and they did.
Well, what I meant, Brent, is the 49ers were doing a real good job of batting the passes down, and they were going to have to go ahead and challenge them deep, and it helped them throw the ball in the second quarter. For example, right here. Watch Lott bat that away. All right, now, granted, it was a deep pass. He batted it away. That's going to open up the things underneath. Didier comes back right here. Look at this on Williamson. Big tight end with wide receiver speed. That's helped them open up the passing of the second quarter.
All right, and of course, in Joe Montana's situation, the difference is he just hasn't converted the big play.
Well, when you get the opportunity and you get a wide receiver open deep for the touchdown like right here, you've got to hit him. This at the end of the ball game could be the difference. That was a possible touchdown, and you've got to come up with those plays.
And he had trouble with Solomon. It looked like on one pattern he broke it on him long and went the wrong direction.
That could have been Solomon's fault more than the quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, what about Hayes? Was this a planned play, or did he read an audible when they crashed from the side?
I believe it was a planned call right from the huddle, and the contain man and the force man was the same guy, and boy, that's tough responsibility. Many times you have a force guy, meaning to get in there and make him punt the ball, then a contain man. They had one guy doing both things, and that's tough on that position.
All right, Dick, Irv Cross has been standing
strong in there. See, now Kugler, the first time here, you see him, he gets his hands on his shoulder pad, and he's right down the line, and there's no place for Riggins to run. And then we'll see, you know, he's been doing that all day. He and Bostic have been in there, but I think Kugler is winning that battle. Here we see him again. You see hands up there, head button, boom, boom, head to head, right down the line of scrimmage. You see, he's there for the cutback. Now, that's the type of play that they had in the first half. The big thing, though, playing these Redskins and the Hogs is whether you can keep it up, because they tend to wear you down. They're so big and so strong.
Locker room after listening to Coach Joe Gibbs and his staff, see what they have regrouped about. We talk about Joe Theismann being off against the San Francisco defense, but keep in mind that the Redskins defense has been dominating here so far in the first half of this game. Now the 49ers are also leaving their locker room. They'll be coming out, and we'll have the second half for you of this NFC Championship game on CBS in just a moment.
John Riggins losing up for the second half. Washington leading 7-0 on his touchdown. The Redskins are 26-1 since 1981 when they were leading at the halftime. There's Bill Walsh, the architect of the San Francisco offense, and the 49er team. The offense has sputtered so far. Halftime statistics, you can see that San Francisco only has 6 first downs. Redskins have 2 turnovers. One of them, though, was an intercepted pass on the last play of the half. That one was inconsequential. The other was a fumble by Joe Washington.
I think one of the things you have to remember, too, is the 49ers, they've only had 6 first downs or whatever, but they have had some things open, and they just missed them. And sometimes, you know, you can come back in the second half and maybe hit some of those things, and we have a different game.
Dana McLemore returning Jeff Hayes' kickoff and gets nailed at about the 26-yard line by Larry Kubin. Really hammered Pete Cronin over there to help out.
Pete Cronin, he's a special teams guy. You know, he would be one of the Hogs if they'd let him in. I'll tell you, that guy is all over the field, that Pete Cronin on special teams. He doesn't play any at linebacker, but he's on all those special teams. And he's one of those wild type of guys, you know.
More and more important they become, it seems, the special teams guy. That's Solomon in motion, and Montana goes back to throw on first down. Redskins blitz. They have Russ Francis open. Taken down by Coffey, but it's a 49er first down. Bill Walsh said in our conversation last night that maybe we haven't been getting the ball to our tight end as much as we should.
Well, I think that and the combination, you know, of losing his top wide receiver, Dwight Clark, I think that probably brings some of that in, too. That, you know, you lose at Dwight Clark, you put in Mike Wilson, but other guys can compensate for Clark, and Francis may be one of the guys.
Francis just limped off the side of the field once he's shaken up just a little bit. Freddie Solomon out wide left. They get the ball to Solomon. Solomon loses it, but he's out of bounds. Ken Coffey again on the stop. 49ers got about 5. Here comes Russ Francis back.
That was an interesting thing, that last play, that first down play, and one of the things that has to surprise the Redskins, along with this type of thing, no huddle here, is using 3 wide receivers on first down.
No huddle. Solomon dives for Montana's throw and can't come up with it.
Anyway, on the first down play, they had the 3 wide receivers, and on the second down play, they had the 3 wide receivers with Freddie Solomon in the backfield. So they want to get their 3 wide receivers in when the Redskins don't have their nickel defense in.
49ers had 117 pass plays in their game plan for this game.
Joe Montana says, you wonder why I'm staying in my room these last 2 days and studying?
Solomon was the man in motion, and Montana goes over the middle. This time it's Wendell Tyler, and he can't come up with it. Is it complete or incomplete?
I think he caught it, fumbled it, recovered it. I think they're going to give it to him. Mark Murphy's saying no, but it looked like to me that it could have been a catch, a fumble, and a recovery. It is.
Right. 17 yards and a 49er first down.
Let's watch it. They say that this was a catch. He had control. He got hit. He fumbled. And now he gets up. Mark Murphy's going for it. But Wendell Tyler gets it. So it was a catch, a fumble, and a recovery.
The Redskins don't necessarily agree with that call. That's Solomon in motion out of the backfield. The pitch is back to Roger Craig. Craig hammered by Coffey again. He got only a couple.
I don't know if I agree with it either. I don't know if he had control of that.
Well, let's check it out again.
Well, we'll look at it. Here he is right here. Now he has it up now. He didn't have control of it. He was bringing the ball down when he got hit. That should have been an incomplete pass. He didn't have control because they had one like that in the first half, and they said it was incomplete because he didn't have control of it. That was a bad call.
I agree. 2nd and 10. Craig only got a half a yard. That's Francis, who started in motion. Now he stays in the block. Montana goes outside to Tyler. Tyler is hit out of bounds hard by Monty Coleman. Really hammered, but that should be enough for a first down.
I'll tell you one thing about the 49ers. I think there's a flag on the play, too, here, Pat.
There is.
That's a sign for pushing by the offense. It would be the opposite of defensive holding or pushing. So that meant that the receiver went down and pushed off a defender.
It could be a pick as well.
Well, it could have been with Craig and Tyler in there because they were both in there.
Interference, number 33, offense, 2nd down.
Right, it was Roger Craig because he was right there at the end. You see him, he's on the linebacker right there on the left. And they say that right there that he was pushing off. I don't know that he did either. I think they're starting to see things out here. I don't know that are there.
That's Eason Ransom, number 80. Montana with a pass fake, gets it outside. That's Earl Cooper, who was a fullback in previous years, of course. The fullback on the Super Bowl champion 49ers of 2 years ago. Now he's a tight end. He got 11 yards. He's a good runner.
You know, they haven't used Cooper much this year, and I don't know. I was watching practice the other day on Thursday, and they were working some deep stuff and trying to get Cooper some plays. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the second half they come up with some type of surprise play to Cooper. Got too many tight ends in there. Francis went out, Cooper stayed in.
From the Redskin 37. Montana up into the pocket, throws, incomplete. Are caught now on the knees by Mike Wilson, but short of a first down.
Yeah, that's one of those plays. If it's 3rd down and you're going to throw it, you have to throw it up beyond the first down marker. That doesn't do anyone any good, except maybe it got a few more yards for the field goal kicker.
And the field goal kicker, Ray Warshing, is in now. He'll go from about 50 yards with Montana holding.
I bet he doesn't look up this time. See, he has his hands on Montana, just looking down. He didn't look up that time.
Line drive kick is nowhere near good.
I think Ray Warshing slipped on that play as he went up to kick it. You know, that's the thing. That middle of the field is very soft. Let's see if we can see it. Now, the important foot on this kicker is his left foot. That's his plant foot. Now, watch as he brings his left foot up here. You see it starts to slide, and it just collapses, and he just goes right down. Didn't have a chance.
And he collapsed. That's where they put all that sand in the middle of the field, and it's still Redskins 7-0. Swept them. 7-0 here at RFK Stadium. Redskins leading the 49ers. And operating from their own 33. Theismann will throw on first down out to Brown. Charlie Brown hustles out of bounds.
That's that same type of play that they did before. You know, everyone is so conscious of Riggins that they fake Riggins to the inside and then just, boom, just pop it out here to Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown sat out the end of the Ram game last week with a twinge in the hamstring.
That's a coach's word for you hope he's not bad. So you never, yeah, he has a little he has a little knee, a little ankle. That means you hope he can play the next week.
Short yardage, Riggins gets the call. And Riggins gets the first down. Pete Kugler over to lead the 49er defense again, and he's done a whale of a job against Bostic.
He really has. You know, the big thing that Kugler's doing is getting his hands on Bostic's shoulders. Watch him. You see him right there? You see he gets him there. He gets his hands up underneath, just grabs him, just throws those shoulder pads off, and comes right down the line. You know, a lot of guys have to have good hands, but nose tackles do too. To get those hands quickly, boom, right up there, off, and then down the line. Boom, hit those hogs in there.
Riggins got the first down, and Theismann goes to work on first down again. This time it's to Walker. Walker is taken down by Carlton Williamson. But Rick Walker gets an 11-yard gain and gets another Redskin first down.
You know, the thing we talked about at halftime will be interesting now is these guys, the Redskins, just kind of wear you down. And they aren't as good in the first quarter, the second quarter, as they are in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. They get better offensively as the game goes on.
Monk comes out to the left. Charlie Brown is split wide to the right. That's Walker who moves up on the flank and leaves Riggins as the lone setback. Riggins is going to throw the option pass. Has Charlie Brown, and Brown comes up with the catch. Ronnie Lott back there with him. But Riggins hits for a 36-yard gain.
Who would ever think a hog would throw a football, man? No wonder Charlie Brown was open. Let's see if we can draw that one up. Yeah, this is what a coach likes to do. Here's Riggins. Again, now he's going to fake and start like it's a counter play. They'll get the lineman pulling. Now that brings the defense up. He's going to stop out here and throw that thing. Look, who would expect a hog to throw a ball? Watch this, little fake. See the guard and the tackle pull? He starts out there, the linebackers are up. He stops and flings that thing out to Charlie Brown. Man, a hog to a fun buncher. A hog to a smurf, I mean.
Why would you expect a hog to throw it? It's a pigskin. Here's Riggins. Cuts back inside, is hit at about the 6. It was first and goal from the 9, and Riggins gets 3. Jack Reynolds came up to make the hit.
I always thought Riggins, you know, short yardage, goal lines, running in there. Look at the kickers warming up with a cape on. Can you believe that? You never did that in your days. But to see Riggins throw a pass, that had to shock the heck out of that 49er defense. Brown he'll carry the ball down here.
Brown made a heck of a catch. It's second down. Riggins will get the call again. Don Warren, the good blocking tight end of the Redskins, jumps. And they'll walk it off, and Riggins may not get it now.
Offense.
Well, I'll tell you, that upsets the coach. When you get down there in the goal line and someone jumps, I'll guarantee you, Joe Gibbs, he's saying, why in the heck did he do that? Okay, let's call this. You know, we talked about the fake, we talked about the lineman, we talked about Riggins, but watch the catch. You see Charlie Brown? He just lulled Ronnie Lott to sleep. He just came off the line slow, and then Lott looked in the backfield, sneaked a peek. He saw those linemen pulling Riggins. He comes up, boom, Charlie Brown just went right by him.
They're back at the 11 now on second down. Theismann back to throw, the 49ers blitz. They had Theismann, he got away, and now they get him. Back at the 25, Keena Turner, Fred Dean, and Stuckey also there.
I'll tell you, that was a bad move by the Redskin offense when Don Warren jumped offside. Good defense on that play by the 49ers. Once you get them down there, you want to knock them out of field goal. Now here comes Keena Turner. Riggins missed him, and he got in and made the tackle. Keena Turner.
Stuckey and Dean finally got him down, and Joe Washington comes into the game. Chin Pinto in motion. Theismann back to throw now on third down. Looking to the outside for Washington. Has him. Dwight Hicks wraps him up, and we'll have Moseley again. He will not try the field goal with the cape on.
You know, one thing I've noticed in this game are a couple things. One is it's a very physical game, and two, both teams seem a little tight. I know, it's a championship game, but things aren't just moving smoothly.
Moseley this time from 38 yards out with Theismann holding. Moseley, no good again. Misses to the right. That's 0 for 3 for Moseley today. Bad day for kickers. He's missed from 45, 34, and 38. Wersching has also missed twice from 50 and 55. Let's see if we can figure out what's wrong.
Yeah, they get the same reactions right there. I don't know why kickers have to wear gloves, but Moseley knew the minute he kicked that ball it was no good. You see him?
Yep.
Head down, chin strap off. Look at Joe Gibbs. He's moving that way. Oh, no, but lips get a little tight. Rose says, I can't believe that.
Still 7-0 Washington.
John Riggins again. Here he is, little counter step. He comes out here, both the guard and the tackle pull. Now that's what Ronnie Lott sees, see, and he's going to drag up. Now watch him. Here, we see the good fake here. Now both the guard, the tackle, even the tight end coming down. Riggins running. That's what Lott saw. No, Charlie Brown ran right by him. Look at the effect. Now watch Lott out here. You see, he's looking in the backfield. See, he sees the guard and tackle pull and Riggins, and he goes, whoa, I read the wrong thing on that baby.
That was Dwight Hicks back there with him, but again, Charlie Brown made a heck of a catch. Solomon now for the 49ers comes out wide to the right. Mike Wilson to the left. First down, San Francisco at their own 20. Montana back to work. Gets it outside to Roger Craig. Has a blocker in front. Craig has a 49er first down outside the 30. Ken Coffey finally nailed him, a pickup of 12.
Who made a good block on that play was Wendell Tyler, and he allowed Craig to get a few more yards. He looked like a guard out there in front of Craig blocking on that play.
'49er first down. Jeff Moore comes in. It's at the 33. Tyler shaken up a little bit after that block. Summerall, John Madden, RFK Stadium, 7-0 NFC Championship game. Redskins lead. Moore in motion. Montana back. Wilson open and has it. Now drops it. Incomplete. Anthony Washington back there with him. Wilson was open, did have it, and then dropped it.
You know, it's an interesting thing. Bill Walsh was talking about that. He said, I've been studying this defense. He said, we'll get guys open. He said, and when we do get open, we just have to catch the ball. Of course, Mike Wilson just dropped that thing. You got to catch those. Woo.
Wilson checking out those gloves.
Well, checking them out, you ought to take them off.
There on the sideline on the crutches is Dwight Clark. 49ers leading receiver and Montana's favorite target. Here's Montana back to throw again. Gets it outside to Solomon, who loses it. Rich Malott comes up with the ball, and the Redskins have it. It's a fumble. The Redskins take charge. That's the first San Francisco turnover. Rich Malott made the recovery.
Two bad breaks in a row for the 49ers. First Mike Wilson drops a pass. Then Freddie Solomon catches one and then fumbles it. There's Darrell Green on him right there. Oh, did he put the hammer on him? Jiminy Christmas. He went right up around his head and neck, and the ball just popped out of there, and Rich Malott was there to recover. Watch Darrell Green in that right arm. Oh, that's close to being illegal.
Redskins will have it in the 49er 35. Possessions. They punted 3 times. They have 2 turnovers, 3 missed field goals, but 1 touchdown by Riggins. They have it now in good shape at the 49er 36-yard line with 6:29 left to play. in the third quarter. And Theismann on first down goes to Art Monk. Monk scrambles away from Eric Wright. That'll be enough for a Washington first down, a pickup of 13.
Joe Theismann has been successful just on first down, just throwing a little quick pattern out here. You see, it's just a quick hitch. He just comes up and stuff. This was almost a big play. Had Art Monk broken that tackle, he would have been down that sideline. Good tackle by Eric Wright, or a touchdown-saving tackle by Eric Wright.
First down, nevertheless, at the 49er 23. Here's Riggins to the outside, cutting upfield or trying to, and the 49ers shut him down again. Led by Ricky Ellison.
Ricky Ellison was right there. He was just going shoulder to shoulder, just square on him. So he's become some story for these 49ers. Drafted, became a starter when they had injuries in the inside linebackers, and now he's even in there calling the defenses now. He's become an emotional leader of this team. He's a fired-up guy. Look at those eyes. He's ready. Where's Riggins, he said.
Now Fred Dean is in for the 49ers. Theismann will throw if he has time. Going deep. Looking. Intended for Monk. There is the penalty flag down. Ronnie Lott was back there with him.